Talk with Rems Live brings you a new streamcast on Saturdays called 10 Questions, where our host, Rems Mabote, answers 10 business questions from you. Take part in the show by sending your question as a video or voice note to 067 271 8239. Or else,
As Themba was stepping into the shower after an afternoon of hard and yard work, Zota walked into the bathroom and Themba asked her, "What do you think the neighbors would say if I cut the grass dressed like this?" Giving him a casual glance, Zota replied, "They'd say I married you for your money." Good evening and welcome to Talk with Rems Live. We are live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Please like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube page. It is Talk with Rems on all platforms. Thank you so much for choosing to join us. This is the most relevant and most powerful 30 minutes of digital content this side of the equator. So you are doing the right thing by being here, and I'm privileged to be part of it. As the promo went earlier, do not forget to send the 10 questions to me. And on that feature 10 questions, we will play your 10 questions and I will respond to your 10 questions on the special feature that we are launching on YouTube, and it's strictly on YouTube. We have received 1 or 2, we want more, and then we go live with it. ASAP, send your questions. Tonight is a bittersweet moment for me. Bitter in that we are discontinuing the game changer feature because you asked for something different. But it is sweet in that we are going to end it on a high. There could never be a better guest for this swan song. Nothando Baloyi is the founder and managing director of Lady T Protection Services, Pty Limited. I always say that when a company is Pty Limited because I want to specially mention that they are a Pty Limited. She started a career within the banking industry, working for the internet banking division. And then in 2000, she joined Discovery Health. She left Discovery to occupy the marketing manager position at NSA Security Services in 2003. 2 years later, she was promoted to operations manager, and a year later to marketing director. And from that experience, she decided to start her own company. Lady T Security was born in July 2009. Folks, I'm happy to be joined by Nothando as my final guest of the Game Changer. Hello, Thando, my friend.
Hello, Remzito. Hello, Rems, my friend. Thank you for having me.
Are you well?
I'm good, a bit stressed. COVID is just showing us flames, but I'm okay.
I can imagine. You know, yeah. I like repeating this and I'm going to make you blush. You remain one of the most famous guests I ever interviewed on my show at Metro in my previous dispensation. It was the most followed interview I ever had. Overnight, my friend, there were 15,000 comments on that interview.
Wow, that is humbling. I wonder why, but it is truly humbling.
Yeah, I wonder why, because really you're not that exciting. I mean, you're not even good looking. I mean, I'm not sure why people did that.
You know what?
I'm saying? I know why, and I know it will be the same even tonight. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you.
So where does it begin? Where's home? Where's this girl? Where does she grow up? You know, what's the story?
Sure. You're going to make me a little bit emotional. And
that's the point.
Yeah, because when you ask me where did I grow up, the emotions behind it is just that I buried my dad 3 weeks ago. So you're taking me that far back. Well, I grew up in Pimville, Zone 7, in Soweto. And I was brought up by parents who really cared in seeing their children growing up and making a difference in the world. We never understood, all of us, I think, as children, when our parents becomes very strict and try and show us the better way. We always think that these people don't have a life and they don't understand, times have changed. So I come up from that background. Both my parents were teachers, and I'm grateful for that experience, because that's what exactly has made me to be who I am today. That strictness that one looked at that point in time and thought, you know, I don't have the freedom that other children have, is what made me to be who I am today. That discipline from the parents is playing a very important role in my life, where I'm at this point in time.
Did you ever have any thought, ambition, thinking, some kind of indication that you'd end up in business? You know, I can imagine growing up in those days, all of us were groomed to go study and get a job, which you did. But did you ever think one day you could be running your own thing?
To be very honest, I never thought that one day I'll be running my own business. I was laughing because my mother and I, not long ago, were reminiscing, because my mother's father, my grandfather, was a business person, was an entrepreneur. And my mother was actually relating a story. And he says, my grandfather would look after us when the parents had gone to work. And my grandfather would make us tea in those enamel mugs. And I was the only child that refused to drink from the enamel mug. And I said, no, I want a cup and a saucer. You know how old people used to drink tea? They would pour the tea in the saucer. And you know, he says, I would, with that sound, yes. And apparently I would refuse to even sit on the floor. I would want to sit on the table with my legs crossed and have a conversation with grandfather and looking all serious. And to be quite honest, I think there's just something that my grandfather saw in me, and you know, he allowed that to happen, and apparently would have serious conversation. And when my mother comes back from work, says, there's just something about this child. But you know, growing up and during my high school years, there's just certain things that happened, which at that point in time, I never realized that it was the preparation towards this journey that I'm at this point in time. What happened is that I remember our parents started teaching us discipline at an early age. They would give us a certain amount of money to say, this is what you need for your lunch, for your transport. And I was a bit of a naughty child. And I remember this one time, I used my allowance, all of it, buying at a tuck shop, because I wanted to look cool. I mean, then you were given a lunchbox. And once in a while, I also needed just to have a little bit of money just to go and spend at a tuck shop at school. And I ended up using all my allowance that was given. And I thought to myself, I'm in trouble. I need to do something, because I can't go back to Mommy Dearest, because Mommy Dearest was a disciplinarian at home, to say, Mommy, I've spent all my money. And then we used to catch a bus at Stock Exchange in town. And nearby the Stock Exchange, there's a couple of Indian shops where they're selling sweets and all these kind of things. This friend of mine, we bought sweets, sold to our peers at school, and I managed to recover my allowance that I used.
Wow.
So I think that's where the entrepreneurship journey started, to say, how do I found myself in trouble, and I asked myself questions to say, how do I take myself out of this situation? And I think that's where it all started.
Well, as they say, the best business is that business that solves a problem. And you had a problem, you had to solve it first for yourself. Then that's how business started.
Yes.
So you go on, my friend, to go and study marketing, and you do well in marketing. You do well in your space. Even as you're working as a marketer for the bank, for Discovery, for NSA security services. At that point, there is still no sign that you could be branching out, or was there any sign?
To be honest, there was still no sign. There was no sign. But the very strange thing that happened, Rams, is that one of the employees who used to work for the company that I worked for was dismissed at work for misconduct. And when she left, she said to me, "You know what, Thando? I think our paths will cross again one day when you start your own business." And I believe that, at times people would see certain things in you as a person that you're not even aware of. And when I look back now as well, and I said, not very long when I joined the company, I grew within the company and I was promoted. And clearly, there were certain signs or things that people saw in me, some level of competence that I never saw in myself. One thing that I know about myself is that when I do something, when I start something, I put everything, my mind, heart, and soul in it. And whatever it is that I start, I make it a point that I do finish. And I do things wholeheartedly, at times without really even expecting a reward.
I appreciate, and I have no doubt that you put your heart, mind, and soul into it. But do you also put your craziness, maybe stupidity? I mean, how does a woman go into a white male-dominated Afrikaans industry? I know you're already working there, but to go in and decide, I'm going to trade in this business, had to take some, should I say balls? I'm sure I'm allowed to say that.
It goes back to, I think, the driving force. What is it that drives you, Thando? Remember during the early days in my childhood when I said that I was in trouble because I had spent all my allowance money? I think I needed a trigger. In 2009, I went through a very difficult time in my life. The company that I was working for was going through a very difficult time. And some of us went through retrenchment. And at the very same time, I was going through difficult challenges in my personal life. I was going through a divorce. And that was a trigger for me as well to say, okay, where to from here? With all the experience and the knowledge that I have, what am I going to do with it? And I felt that I've already lost everything that was precious, that was important to me. Where to from here? And I thought, I've got nothing else to lose. The best thing that I can do for myself is to go back home to mommy's house and start all over again. That's how Lady T Protection Services was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you make it romantic, but still, how does it start? Where does it all begin? I mean, where do you go first? Who do you send the first letter to? All that. Who was the first client?
I guess the beauty about this whole thing is that I had built a name for myself whilst working for NSA Security.
Yes.
And a completely new client that knew about me when I was still working through a referral whilst I was still working for NSA Security, approached me at the time to say, Thando, this is the problem that we have. Please, can you send us a proposal? We've got a challenge where some of our leadership is being attacked and we really need your help. And I said to them, you know what? I'm on my own at this point in time and I can do this. is it still okay? Would you still accept the proposal? And they said, fire, send the proposal. We'll take it from there. I sent the proposal, but I had a challenge because I didn't have all the resources that they required. And what made it even worse, this opportunity was in another province where I didn't know anybody in the Northwest province. But I thought to myself, you know what, with the challenges that I have, it doesn't happen very often that 3 months later, after one has been retrenched from work, it doesn't happen very often that you get such an opportunity. And I thought, I'm going to grab this opportunity with everything that I have. I thought the best thing is I am going to partner with someone because I can't let this thing go.
Yes.
One of the requirements was we needed to a firearm license, and I didn't have it. I was capable of doing everything else, but what I didn't have was the firearm license. Then I thought, okay, I'll go to Rustenburg. I'll drive around. I'll find people that I can speak to. And I did it, literally, I did exactly that. I remember it was on a Sunday. I drove around Rustenburg. And in actual fact, there's a guy who put me in touch with an ex-colleague of his in the Rustenburg. And the rest is history. I was introduced to this gentleman. We signed an agreement. We agreed that we're going to work together. And that's how my journey started.
Wow. Now,
Yeah.
I know, many people generally, but also a lot of Black people in particular, and certainly a lot of entrepreneurs get shy when they have to boast a bit. So I'll boast on your behalf because I'll say 11 years later, we can count among some of the high profile clients that you have signed, including national key point clients like SABC head office, ESCOM, Telkom, National Prosecuting Authority, SA Breweries, Sterfontein Hospital. It's just been amazing. I mean, National Union of Mine Workers, my friend, Johannesburg Housing Company, City of Tshwane. It has just been happening, and certainly because you were doing something amazing. Certainly you were doing something that the industry was noticing and they wanted your services.
Yeah. And just a little bit of correction there, Rams, is that your SABC and your National Prosecuting Authority, those are the companies that I worked for when I was still working for NSA Security.
Oh,
yes.
So you had gained that experience there.
Yes, that's where I got the experience. But yes, the City of Tshwane, your Johannesburg Housing Company, Metro Trading Company, Department of Health, those are some of the clients that I service at this point in time.
So it's easy for all of us to assume what a security company does, but what services do you actually offer? Because I'm sure there are different services.
There's different services. Mainly it's guarding, which you protect your clients' properties and assets. Your close protection, which is some refer to as VIP protection. We also do CCTV installation and maintenance. And also the National Key Point Security, which is very specialized. The places like your airport and city powers, because they are called national key points, because should anything happen, should anything go wrong with those companies or departments, it will affect the whole nation. It won't just be the client that suffers, but whatever damage happens, it will actually affect the whole nation. So it's a specialized skills. You also need to have security officers that are well trained to be able to operate within that space. Yeah.
And typically, Thando, your employees in the main would be male. Most of the clients you service would be male. It has to be a space where it's not easy for a Black woman to operate in. How do you traverse that space and make sure that the business still stays alive and then still managing the toxic masculinity that is out there that we know about?
Sure. I couldn't agree more. It is a male-dominated industry. I work with a lot of males. And initially, when I started the business, I had a lot of challenges in a sense that even the very person that I had partnered with in my first project, we ended up going separate ways purely because of that. You bring a person on board and you say, let's work together. But all they see, I think at the back of their minds, to say, it's just a female, what does she know? And they go behind your back and they try to poach your clients. And I said, you know what? With this kind of behavior, will not accept this. So let's go our separate ways. And that also, it also happens with some of your staff members. That behind your back, they will say, this girl, lentombazana le.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
and they call you, give you all sorts of names. But you know what, Rams, one thing that I've realized is that respect is earned over a period of time. And as much as they might initially look at you and they say, this girl, not even this woman or this lady, this girl, who the hell does she think she is? Especially when you have to discipline people when they've done something wrong. And but over time, I think when you give respect in return, people have no reason not to respect you back. By that, not being a softie, being firm, still in a very respectful manner. You don't attack people, and you don't, as a leader, that's what I believe, that you don't attack people personally, and you don't keep on reminding them who you are, but your actions will let them know who you truly are and what you're about and what the vision of the company is. And once you've articulated that, people have no reason but to follow. And they realize that, you know what, this is where we're going. And these are the benefits and whatever promises, because remember, any business at its early stages, it has challenges, especially financially, even with the cash flow. When some of the clients don't pay on time, when you don't have backup because banks don't believe in you, getting funding becomes a challenge. But when you say to employees, guys, this is the challenge that we have, but give me another 4 or 5 days, I will honor that. And when you stick to that, then they realize, but you know what? This person has our best interest at heart, and they have no reason but to follow and to back you up in whatever it is that you're trying to do for yourself, for the business, and for them.
You know, and I think every business goes through tough times. Sometimes, you know, for objective or subjective reasons. Sometimes it's us, the entrepreneurs, who, you know, get our eyes off the ball. We get complacent. We do stupid stuff. We overspend the money. We buy the Range Rover, whatever else we do. Sometimes people steal from us that we employ. But there are times when elements that have nothing to do with you come in. And I know that in March this year, an element called COVID-19 came in and messed up the security industry because suddenly you still had to supply the same services, but then you had to buy PPEs that clients were saying, but that's not my business. You just have to survive. How have you coped in this horrible 5-month period that we've just gone through?
Fortunately, our industry was not affected that much. Thank God for that. The challenges that we had, I think initially when we were told of COVID-19, was the fact that will we have transport, like the additional cost, which is if we needed to transport our staff, as you have also mentioned, you know, acquiring PPE, getting PPE for our staff, which the client is not even paying for. Yep. And I think what I did from my side, I just had to go back to the coffers, because this is another thing, as you're saying, the most important thing when you start a business, it's important that you understand that that money, whatever you invoice, is not your money. It's not the money that's supposed to go to your pocket. Over time, one needs to build a, what's the word? One needs to have money that you put aside for any unforeseen situations.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I said to myself when I started my business, having learned from the previous company that I worked for, I realized the importance of actually putting a certain amount of money aside.
Yeah.
And this is what has really helped us to actually survive the difficult time. But our clients, the clients that we had, we still have. The only thing is maybe with one or two clients, even up until today, we still haven't been paid. But because of the lump sum of money that we've put aside, that has really that's what actually came through for us.
Okay. I was going to ask you two questions, but I think you've answered the one in your previous question, response. So my final question to you would be, based on your experience, what is the one thing that you would want to advise other business people, especially women, about what not to do? You know, you've just spoken about what to do, you know, keeping reserves and making sure that you don't spend the money paid.
Yes.
I like that. What is the one thing that you would say to them? Please be careful of this and do not ever do it in your business.
One thing that I would say is that, okay, number one is believe in yourself. The fact that you are female, it doesn't make you less of any human being. If you know who you are and what you are capable of, trust me, it will show. That respect, you'll earn it. Number two, as females, we have certain challenges that men, majority of men don't experience.
Yes.
Is we shouldn't compromise ourselves. We shouldn't sell our soul. And these are the teachings that I even give to my employees, to say, don't find yourself, compromise yourself, and doing things that under normal circumstances you wouldn't do, and end up sleeping with people to get business.
Yeah.
Because that is not sustainable. And if you do it once, that's it. That's the end. Because I always give an example to say, once you do that, now imagine you're in this relationship with this person who is your client. You get into a fight for whatever reason, because couples do fight. And what would this person do? They will punish you and say, I'm not paying your invoice. And who's going to suffer? Not you, but your staff and the business.
The business.
So
yes.
I think those are some of the things that I think as women, we shouldn't find ourselves being compromised and end up getting involved in those unethical kind of conduct.
Earlier, in one of your responses to my questions, you said people would say, who the hell does she think she is? Well, I'll say this is who the hell I think you are. You're a game changer, Thando. You've done amazingly well. I love your work. I know that people who are watching and those who will watch in the future will be strengthened by your journey, and hopefully more people would take from your journey and become also their own bosses and create businesses out there. I wish Lady T Protection Services much more growth than whatever you've experienced so far. I know that you will do well, and I thank you so much, so much for sharing your story with us, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you. I'm humbled. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity. Because you know what, Rems, as much as the business has been there for quite some time, 11 years later, it's still not easy. Yes, we're trying to look elsewhere to diversify, but it's not easy. So the exposure that you have given us, it means a lot to us, because we still need to make people know who we are. We are still make them aware that we are relevant, and there are people like us who are capable, who can give them the service that they deserve. So I really, truly appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you so much, and you must have a very great evening, Feda.
Thank you.
So I had to say goodbye to her because I'm about to embarrass her, so I didn't want it to be a conversation. I get personal because she is also one of the benefactors of the foundation that I run, Future Kings. At a personal level, Thando has been behind me so much. And for that, I remain forever grateful. Thank you so much, Thando. So guys, I can't find a better way to end this feature with such a game changer. In true form, I don't have to explain it to you. She's just an amazing woman who's done amazing work. And I'm glad that this tape will live many, many years after she and I have left this world, and we can always celebrate her success in life. So when we come back next Thursday, it won't be the game changer. It will be something else. There'll be war in this room. Well, we're still going to find the name for that feature, and it's probably going to be an hour's feature. But we're back on Monday with Dr. T. We just did Lady T, so we're going Dr. T on Monday, our personal development coach. And you have yourself a great weekend further. I hope not to speak to Freddie for the rest of the weekend, but we're looking forward to more of your questions on the 10 questions. And from me, Rems Mabote, good night and God bless. You know, I would not want to give an impression to people that you're doing soda as a part-time thing. You're doing it as a hustle because you are still growing it, but ultimately you want it to be your main hustle.
Yes, we officially we only about a year old. We officially started a year ago, and we're still working on we investing on machinery. We need machines to clean up diamonds. We're still waiting for the license because we applied for the diamond license. So it's still a progress. We're still on baby steps, we're growing, but